You need to prioritize, from a legal perspective, AI and its intersection with privacy and security, because privacy laws and any laws that impact AI are cropping up all the time all over the world. And cyber incidents have evolved, and there's new flavors of attacks caused by AI that we all need to be aware of. In this episode, I look at why AI, cybersecurity, and data governance must be legal priorities in 2026. Leaders need a framework that they can follow to make decisions that impact governance, privacy, security, legal obligations, and AI in a world that has seemed to accelerate at the speed of light. I suspect if you're listening to this episode, you might be an early adopter. You're potentially in IT or information security, or you're a lawyer nerd like me and you play around with tech. But maybe you don't have the words to use to explain to the rest of your organization what AI is, the risks, the benefits, and maybe you need a little bit of guidance with how to put a policy framework in place or establish proper governance and avoid incidents. You're in the right place. The question I posed at the beginning of the episode is, why should these things be priorities in 2026? There are a few reasons that we're going to go through. First, AI tools themselves. Second, new cyber incidents. And third, a new legal landscape. First, rapid adoption. The speed with which AI tools are being adopted, and largely by people who have only cursory or superficial knowledge about what they are and what they do and how they operate, is quite something. First of all, what is AI? There's a lot of ambiguity around it, and there are many tools or features that call themselves AI that are just a front end to a bunch of fancy queries, and they're really just providing static answers. But in this podcast, when we talk about AI, we're talking about three different groups of AI tools. And for this purpose, you don't really need to worry about the distinction among them. I'm telling you this so that when you are listening to the podcast and thinking about how you'll implement the advice in your own organization, you don't forget one of these categories of tools. First, large AI platforms by either tech providers like Google's Gemini, or large AI platforms by AI providers like Claude by Anthropic or ChatGPT by OpenAI, or in the legal world, Harvey. The second group is AI features and functions in applications you've been using for a long time, like Slack AI. You name it, there's AI features popping up anywhere. And then the last group we want to think about to keep in mind are custom development. So whether you have outsiders developing custom AI engines, models for you internally, or whether you're developing them for your own use internally or for your customers, clients, and partners. So think about those three buckets of AI as we go through this season. The last thing about AI tools that necessitates prioritizing this from a legal perspective in 2026 is this concept of a loss of control. It seems like the tools are not being controlled by humans. It seems like tools are trying to outsmart or control humans. And that's unsettling at best. A lot of this comes from the marketing premises behind all these tools, which are trying to communicate the fact that marketing speak tells us that AI tools are magical and unknowable, and they're going to fix all the world's problems, or at least make you operate much faster than you normally do with a higher level of analytics and higher productivity, and the world will be a better place. However, the marketing speech also makes it seem like these tools are unknowable, and they're going to control humans. Let's say one fear might be you're using an AI tool and you voice activate it because you need help treating a snake bite. So you follow the instructions, but it turns out that the instructions make your legs swell up like the size of Rhode Island, and you end up in the ER. That's the type of fear that we have because of even commercials nowadays about AI having these magical properties. And it's this sense of a loss of control that's unsettling and necessitates looking closely at AI from a governance perspective in 2026. Last thing about AI tools that means we need to pay attention is the difficulty validating accuracy. So with a regular spreadsheet tool, if I ask it to average a set of numbers of 1 million people's test scores, the tests are scored out of 100. If the average returned by the tool is 549, I know that cannot be right. I don't know what the answer is, but I know that's not right. But with a lot of the work that AI tools can perform, we don't have a way to gut check a response, especially to a complicated formula or analysis. And the error rate is pretty high for AI tools, so that presents a significant problem. Okay, so we talked about AI tools as being part of the reason that AI legal privacy security needs to be a priority in 2026. Second are privacy laws. There are AI-specific privacy laws and privacy laws in many other sectors and non-privacy, non-AI laws, all of which have bearing on AI usage, data management, and governance related to AI. And they're all over the world. Just in the first couple months of 2026 this year, we saw new laws and regulations out of China, out of the EU, Latvia, El Salvador, the list goes on and on. The AI laws in the US that were in place over the past couple years mainly target AI making decisions without human intervention that's going to impact people's lives, like hiring decisions cannot be made solely by AI, or lending decisions, mortgages, financial decisions also require human intervention. The next swath of AI laws in the US that are being proposed now relate to clarity and transparency, meaning the policymakers in different states are worried that consumers will be fooled into thinking a real human is endorsing a product or advertising a product when in fact it's just an AI-generated person. So they want disclaimers in that regard on chatbots or advertisement, anywhere that AI is being used. The third bucket is cyber incidents. There are many cyber incidents related to AI. Some are similar to incidents we all know and love, and they're just enhanced or automated by AI. But there are also some AI-specific cyber incidents that didn't exist before that really warrant being aware of and factoring into your legal priorities and your compliance overall in 2026. To recap, you need to prioritize, from a legal perspective, AI and its intersection with privacy and security in 2026. Second, privacy laws and any laws that impact AI are cropping up all the time all over the world. And third, cyber incidents have evolved and there's new flavors of attacks caused by AI that we all need to be aware of. Thanks for listening to another episode of Decoding Cyber Law. If you've got questions, check out the show notes, go to our website, or feel free to message me on LinkedIn.